My name is David from the Social Foundry, and today I'm going to show you how to make a web service using the SOAPbox. So the first thing we're going to do is log into the application, and if you look on the left hand side you can see a bunch of features that it has, but the first thing we're going to do is create what we call an access key. An access key is simply an API key that you could grant to other systems, other people, that gives access to your service registry. So in this case, I'm just going to give it a name. Maybe this is a external application. And then I'm going to generate a system key. You can create your own, but this is just an easier way to do it. Okay, so just keep that in mind for now. The next thing we're going to do is, once we've got our keys, we want to go ahead and define our databases. So in this case, I'm going to add a Microsoft SQL Server database that we're going to get data from. So I'll call this production database, and I'll provide the database credentials and the location of the database. And the database name, and a records threshold, just to make sure for performance reasons that we can sort of cap the number of returned rows to do that. So in this case I'm going to set it to 9,999. That should be plenty. Okay, so now that I've created my database, the next thing I want to go ahead and do is generate some stored SQL. So in this case, for my external application, I want to go ahead and expose a customer list via web service. So by doing that, I will simply just add a new stored module, and we'll call this customer listing production database. This web service will essentially just return a customer list from the database. And then I'll write my SQL. Then I'll select which database that I want it to come from. In this case, we'll get it from the production database that we just set up in the previous step. Okay. So there's my customer listing from the production database. The last thing I need to do now is to add an access key. This particular web service is now available. This list is now available as a web service, but without the access key, it cannot be accessed externally. So I'm going to add an access key, and I will select my external application as a access key. And you can also add parameters if you want to use parameterized queries and so forth. The SOAPbox does also support stored procs, and not just selects. It can do updates, deletes, and inserts as well. Okay, so now that I have my web service, I can actually test it from within the SOAPbox, and I can hit the Test Web Service button, and as you can see, it's returned a slew of data. That means my syntax is correct, the web service is functioning as intended, and is now ready to be invoked remotely. That's it. So the web service is now ready to go, and I'm going to show how you would call it from an external web client, a SOAP client in this case. The SOAP client, the way the SOAPbox works is we essentially have one enterprise WSDL, and this WSDL is essentially the way that you would call the different web services from the registry. So every call to the SOAPbox uses a single WSDL, but inside the parameters you have to pass the name of the service and the key and any parameters of the service. So using our example, I'm going to call the customer listing production database, paste it in here, and then no parameters, and I did use the key from the previous, and I'm going to call this function. Oops, I forgot to put the key. Get the key here, and pass the key to the service. And now you can see nicely, strongly typed XML returned from the SOAP response that gives you your customer name. So that's it. Basically, you can create as many service registries as you want, as many SQL select statements, updates, inserts, stored procs, and again, you just hit it from a single WSDL. As long as you pass the parameters and the module name and a valid access key, the SOAPbox will interrogate the database and then return the SOAP response as XML. Thank you.